Welcome to Homeline Academy. Once again, my name is Godfrey Chaze, and I want to invite you to this channel to subscribe, comment, and also share. This is the place where we learn everything about education, transformational education at that. We've done so far a couple of videos or episodes, and if you've been following us, thank you very much. I want to encourage you to keep sharing them with other people as well, so they can join our platform or this channel. We've talked about, we've done episode 1 where we defined homeschooling. We've been going through this series on homeschooling. We talked about why people homeschool. We've talked about the 3 pillars of home education. And we've talked about quite a number of topics, most of which come from you people, our beloved listeners and those who follow us. And today we have another episode where we are going to talk about another interesting subject, which is one of those people actually ask, almost the question most people want to ask about when it comes to home education. The question is, how about socialization? What happens to those homeschool children? Do they socialize? Do they know how to interact with people in their community? And that's what I'm excited to share about today. You know, there is an assumption when people hear home education or homeschooling, people tend to assume that maybe our children are in the house 24/7. That's not the case. So it's important for us to define even what is socialization. You know, definitions are everything. Someone said that whoever defines life, they determine how you live it. So when we are concerned about socialization of our children, what are we talking about? And I have pulled out 2 definitions from 2 scholars here. And one of them defines socialization as the process. Remember, it's a process. Socialization is the process by which the society's cultural heritage is transferred to an individual. So it's a process of transferring a cultural heritage from one person to another person. And that's socialization. Mark that. And number 2, another one, defines socialization as the process by which a child develops their personality and learns to be human in one way or another. So socialization is that process that makes us human, that makes us learn to be human in one way or another. Now think about that. Is that something that only happens in school, as in the institutionalized school? Do you think homeschoolers can socialize in the home-based, parent-led, private context as we have defined home education? I think they can. Think about socialization in this way. Don't limit it to thinking that to socialize is only when a child interacts with peers. Yes, there is a place to interact with peers, but also a society we live in has peers, but it also has adults, and it also has those who are younger than us. So I believe true socialization should enable a child to be able to interact with people of all kinds, of all categories, of all age groups, of all people from all walks of life. And that would be the true socialization. I think it was Socrates who said once that horses are born horses, but only humans are not born humans. What was Socrates trying to come to here? What Socrates meant is that human beings, it takes time, it takes this process here to turn them into human beings, to make them behave as human beings are expected to behave. In other words, when we talk about socialization, we are talking about a process that makes a person, or especially a child, to become a human being, to behave and interact the way other human beings in the setup where God has put him behave. I mean, haven't you heard phrases or statements like, is he human? Oyo naye muntu, in some of our local dialects. That's the way it is us. Meaning what? He's a human being. He has a head, the legs, and everything. But people are wondering, is he human? Meaning, maybe there's something they are missing. There's something that they never received. There's something they were never that was never put into them. I think it is something we have called the Ubuntu. They were never put in them the Ubuntu. They are walking as human beings, but they don't have the sense of Ubuntu or the humanity, the humanness in them that makes others wonder, as he escaped from the zoo. you hear those kinds of phrases. In other words, what makes us be the human beings that everyone else enjoys to relate with is the process of socialization. And that is something we need to figure or to think about when we are talking about whether homeschool children are socialized. The question is, do they behave humanly? Do they have a sense of Ubuntu? Do parents in a home-based environment have the ability to turn their children into humans? Of course, we've always said it, charity begins at home. In others, it's the duty of the parents to raise and nurture their children to become the people they are supposed to become. And let's not assume that home education makes the children be locked up in their house 24/7. Actually, these children, in any case, tend to interact with people of all kinds, even more than those who are in the conventional school. Think about it, the time those in conventional school spend there interacting with what kinds of people? With peers most of the time. But homeschool children have the opportunity to interact with the people their parents are interacting with. Sometimes they are adults, sometimes they are those younger than them. They meet them in places like churches, in places like mosques, in places like when they go to the supermarket, when they go to the farm, when they go to the garden, in their neighborhood. They meet them in the natural environment, in the natural setup where God has placed their home. And that's what we need to put in our heads when we think about this question of socialization. Socialization is basically to enable children to grow up in society, to be able to fit in society. And we can actually debate whether the school setup that puts them in the brick of the four walls will better socialize them when it keeps them specializing in relating with their peers, or a home environment that actually will nurture them in a natural, organic environment where they meet all kinds of people. This is Homeline Academy, the YouTube channel where we are sharing nothing but education. Yes, we have begun with a series on home education. Later we can talk about other things, education in general. But you're welcome and subscribe. Thank you very much.